Okay, welcome to the June 18th, 2025 meeting of the Town of Plymouth, Massachusetts Advisory and Finance Committee at the Great Hall and Town Hall of Plymouth. I am your committee chair, Steve Neerman. This will be our last meeting of the fiscal year 2024-2025, and it seems like years since I've seen you all, so hello again. And thank you for being here. Okay, we'll go to the call of order of our committee members. When you hear your name, kindly indicate if you're present or not. And for our new members, you are welcome to abstain. Ms. Butler, are you here?
I'm here.
Mr. Dunn?
Here.
Thank you. He's on Zoom. Mr. Jacinto?
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Lally? Mr. Lawler?
Here.
Mr. Malaguti? Ms. O'Connor?
Here.
Mr. Pizarro?
Here.
Mr. Ramey?
Present on Zoom.
Thank you. Ms. Richards?
Here.
Mr. Snyder?
Here.
Ms. Tompkins?
Here.
Mr. Trudell?
Present.
And Ms. Dunn, not Mr. Dunn, Ms. Dunn has an emergency at work and could not be here. So she's in excused absence, I would guess I'd call it. Okay, our announcements. This is a hybrid meeting. It's likely to be conducted in a hybrid format with some participants attending physically, like we're here, others virtually on video conference application, which is Zoom. You can watch our meeting live on Comcast 9, Verizon 47, or the local scene is streaming. You can also go to youtube.com/@Plymouth Meetings LS. I'm not even sure what that is. Public comment, any speaker giving public comment is allotted up to 5 minutes in which to speak. Public comment can be made at the beginning or the end of each meeting, or in regards to a particular agenda item the speaker wishes to be heard on. The Zoom login information for anybody who would like to attend virtually, including members of the public who wish to give public comment, can use one of the following methods. You can use the Zoom app. You can also join through the Zoom website, and our meeting code is 995-2986-0638. It's 995-2986-0638. Our meeting passcode is 100131. And you could also join us by telephone at 929-205-6099, and also enter the same meeting code, 995-2986-0638, and enter the meeting passcode 100131. We will not see you, your face. We will see like a phone number on the screen. So, is there anybody from the public that would like to start us off with a comment? Okay, hearing and seeing none. So I would like to start off with a comment, since we will be introducing some new members. And before I hand off the chairman's gavel at our August 20th meeting, I wanted to give a brief overview of what our committee actually does. And for the members here, you might find this interesting too, our veterans. Please indulge me here. This is for our new members and for the staff at the Plymouth Independent. More on that in a minute. Spoiler alert. The Town of Plymouth Advisory and Finance Committee was established at the 1918 annual town meeting. The Advisory and Finance Committee is an essential part of Plymouth town government. It was formed under statutory requirements of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 39, Section 16. The Advisory and Finance Committee is charged with making reports and recommendations to the town on any and all municipal questions. While its primary responsibility revolves around the detailed review of the town's annual budget, making recommendations for revision, and presenting the budget to town meeting for approval, the town charter and town bylaws require the committee to consider all matters proposed to be acted on at all town meetings. Now, when I received a call last week from a staffer at the Independent to comment on the man accused of stealing from the school cafeteria, I have to admit I was quite surprised to get that call, being the chair of the Advisory and Finance Committee. And I was even more surprised to see my name singled out in her article on June 9th. So let me tell you all what the advisory committee does not do. We don't hire, we don't fire, and we don't manage cafeteria employees. We don't send our members to sit in the cafeterias of the 8 elementary, 2 middle, and 2 high schools in Plymouth and observe. We don't approve requisitions to buy food and equipment for the Plymouth schools, and we certainly don't do inventory at these schools on a weekly basis. Now, to school the folks over at the Independent on Journalism 101, and I was a journalist at the 2 major Washington newspapers for 3 decades. If I were to start my investigative reporting about a cafeteria theft and looking for a committee member to comment, I'd probably start with the school committee. The Independent article states, and I quote, that the town's, quote, internal control and policies and laws prohibits the transfer of school income or assets unless approved by the school committee. But no word in the article from the school committee. And in fact, one of our former members is a school committee member, and I'm sure the Independent knows how to contact her. Just saying. Okay, now, on to the agenda tonight. Thank you for the feedback. All right, we're going to welcome a couple of new members, and we're going to start off by welcoming them, and I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us your motivation for being on this committee and what your interests are, etc. And I'm going to introduce first Tom Jacinto. You probably saw his name on lawn signs. That's how I first heard of you, and then I got to meet you in person, and I got to put the lawn sign to the face. So, Tom, the floor is yours.
Excellent. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Thomas Jacinto. I'm a full-time lieutenant paramedic for the Hingham Fire Department. I've sat in on multiple meetings for acquisitions of ambulances and fire trucks, and I get how it works from that perspective, but not necessarily from the town's perspective. I'm also the secretary-treasurer of my local union, and I've participated in collective bargaining, so I'm also familiar with that aspect. Again, union side, but not the town side, maybe necessarily. I was appointed to the Advisory and Finance Committee as a really great point. If you want to learn absolutely everything about the town of Plymouth, this is the place to be. And getting to see how everything comes through Advisory and Finance before it hits any other department in town, I think this is a great place for me to get started.
Excellent. Well, thank you for agreeing to join us in our journey through the next year. Before I get to Hans, I'm also going to introduce Miles Ramey. And Miles, tell us about yourself and what your interest is in being on our committee.
Hello, Miles Ramey. I'm from the town of Plymouth. I left for about a decade to join the Navy, and I love the town so much that out of all the places I've been, I dragged my wife and kid back here, and I just really wanted to get more involved in the community. And like Tom, I heard that if you want to learn everything there is to know about the town, this is the place to do it. So I was like, I got to join this committee, and said yes when I was asked to. So here I am, and I plan on being in person the rest of the time. We just already had a trip joined this week, coincidentally, so I'm on Zoom this week.
Excellent. Well, thank you also for volunteering your time on this committee. So I didn't want this to kind of get lost at the end of the meeting. I did want to mention that we have 3 departing members from our committee, and I wanted to thank first Bruce Howard for all of the work that he's done for the many years he's been in our committee. I didn't always agree with everything Bruce said, but I respected his intelligence and his contributions to this committee. He always had a very interesting perspective to add. He has graduated from our committee, and now he's a town meeting rep. So we'll see him. He will not be a stranger to us. And I congratulate Mr. Howard on his getting that position. I also wanted to recognize Dan Green, and Dan Green also was a very good contributor, very analytical guy as an auditor, and I really respected the work that he did. And from what I understand, he's got additional family obligations, so he is off to take care of more kids or something like that. Okay, so one other person who is actually here, and this is his last meeting, and I'm really sad to see him go, and I'm not going to cry, I promise, but I just wanted to take a minute and talk about Tim Lawler, who is this gentleman right here. I could say without a doubt that Tim put in more hours on issues, on warrants, and especially this year on the school budget, than any of us, and maybe all combined. I mean, he is a tireless worker, and I'm going to miss him. I'm really sad, but I understand he got a contract with the senior tennis tour, and he's got to leave us, and we're going to be watching him on TV. But anyway, I just want to say thank you in person. Okay. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So we have minutes to approve, the March 27, 2025 meeting minutes. And again, Mr. Jacinto and Mr. Ramey, you can abstain because you are not here. Do we have any additional edits that was not forwarded to Jeanette? No? Okay. And let's see, Mr. Snyder, would you like to make a motion to approve the minutes of March 27? Excellent.
I will be happy to, a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Perfect. And Mr. Lally, would you like to second that motion? Thank you. Any discussion on the minutes of March 27th? Hearing and seeing none. Let's go to the vote. We're voting to approve the minutes of March 27th. Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Abstain.
Mr. Jacinto?
Abstain.
Mr. Lally?
Yes.
Mr. Lawler?
Abstain.
Mr. Malaguti? He's not here. Okay. Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Pizarro?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Abstain.
Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
And Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
8 voted for and 4 abstentions. Is that what you had, Jeanette? All right, we're halfway there. Okay, end-of-year transfer requests, which is something that we do every year. And our one person in the audience has been waiting patiently the last 13 minutes to take the stage, and it is your show, Kellen Galworth.
Thank you very much. I'm always happy to be at A&F. I feel like I'm here almost every quarter, so I do apologize for always having to be here for postage. Once again, and I think I alluded to it for the spring, for this, when we had the special town meeting in the spring, I asked for a budget amendment knowing I wasn't going to even get through May. So now what's happening is I'm estimating $20,000 short. And that is mostly due to the fact that we have to mail out the tax bills that will go out by June 30th, so we can collect the taxes, and we estimate that to be close to $20,000. So there's funds left over in the election salary account right now, and so I'm looking for approval to transfer those funds, $20,000 from the election workers' salaries to postage for FY25. 25.
Excellent. Thank you, and we have all the things that are going toward those mailings.
Yes.
Received that, and it was distributed a week ago. So are there any questions for Ms. McElrath? Yes.
So I think I didn't bring my laptop, but I think I remember seeing that was going to be coming from free cash. Is that what?
No, it's coming from the election salary account.
Okay.
So,
Does it make a difference where that is coming from?
No,
Could it come from our, because I don't think anything has come out of A&F's.
no, because anything that's not spent falls to free cash, so whether it comes out of FinCom reserve or the salary account,
It's just pick an account.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
So were we able to save money that was budgeted for this election because we went down in a number of precincts voting?
Yeah, I did a presentation to the Select Board about a week and a half after the election, and based on the salaries that we paid, like for the police and custodians, so on and so forth, we definitely saved at least $7,000 for that election. So I know it might sound like a small amount at this point, but when you have 10, in the next 5 years, you'll probably have anywhere from 10 to 20 elections, and that money will add up as we move forward. And we came right on budget on the estimate of like the $35,000, I think I estimated that we would spend to get the trailers and the equipment that we needed for the polling locations.
Okay, thank you.
And can I add one more thing to
Yes,
that? The great news is, and I think I've alluded to this in the past, and we kind of went off topic, but I'll talk about it, is the state has determined, or the auditor's office has determined, that in-person early voting and vote by mail is actually an unfunded mandate. So the auditors come to all the town clerks, and we have to give them our expenses. So we got about $98,000 for the 2 elections that we had in the fall. And I just received certification that we're getting $15,600 for the election that we had in May. So we are recouping some of those costs of in-person early voting and vote by mail from the state.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Dunn, do you have a question?
I wish they'd pay us for the unfunded mandates in education, too. Is next year's postage budget that we approved sufficient, or is that going to be an issue next year, too?
What my plan is for that, I don't believe it will be sufficient, because this will be a total of $40,000 that I've asked for a transfer. So for the fall town meeting, I'll be looking for a budget adjustment in that realm. I'm gonna do a little bit more due diligence with the other departments, such as collector that mails out the tax bills, and retirement, and assessors, and everyone that mails out, and try and get a good handle on exactly what they anticipate their postage needs will be for FY26, and ask for that budget amendment.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. O'Connor.
So related, not directly, I think there's the volume up really. Have we explored the option to go, like, for people to opt in and go paperless?
Yeah, and as I got up here, I remembered I never followed up on that question that you asked me the last time, so I apologize for that. I think there is something in the state law, at least I'm imagining that there is, that you have to send something to the taxpayer, that they need a paper bill. That being said, they can opt in to get mail notification, but I believe that we have to mail those bills out every year. Because I've heard that if you don't get the tax bills out 30 days before they're due, then the law allows the taxpayer not to pay it. And, they have like 6 months to pay it versus the 3 months that we have. I learned that from my previous community. So because I know that that's out there, I'm thinking that we at least have to mail the tax bills. I know the town is definitely moving more in electronic format with many different things, but unfortunately, you still got to mail out some payroll checks, some other vendors that we pay. There's a lot of mail, and I'm learning that, good, bad, or indifferent. I was paying attention to elections my first couple of years. This year, I've been paying more attention to postage.
Excellent. Do you have a follow-up question?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor. And Ms. Richards, the floor is yours.
So I happened to be visiting the Hingham assessors last week, and assisting them with their uploading their deeds to their site. They do not post, they don't update their database for the public. They only update it on a yearly basis using their software. I also have a lot of assessors who it takes them months to update their database. So I can't imagine that there would be some kind of legal mandate where people would, if you don't get your tax bill, you don't have to pay it.
ahead, Chuck.
Because if these, the towns, our 27 communities within the county, aren't updating their database on a timely basis, which I can guarantee you doesn't happen, then people aren't getting their bill, or they're not, it's not addressed properly. It's not going to the right PO box, or it's not going to the right address.
I'll take a look at that, and I'll follow up with you on that one.
Yeah, I'll check it as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing and hearing no further questions, let's go to Mr. Trudell. Would you like to make a motion to approve a $20,000 end-of-year transfer request for the town clerk?
I make a motion that we approve the transfer of $20,000.
Thank you. And Ms. Tompkins, would you like to second that motion, please?
Seconded.
Excellent. So we have a first from Mr. Trudell, a second from Ms. Tompkins. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, let's go to the roll. Ms. Butler, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Mr. Lawler?
Yes.
Mr. Lally?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Bizzarro?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
And Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
And that is unanimous.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the
12
opportunity.
to 0. Thank you, Ms. McElrath, for all you do for this town. All right. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're at the old, new, and other business. The only announcement I have is our next meeting is July 9, and town meeting this year is October 18th. So circle that on your calendar, and that's what we're going to be working toward over the next couple of months, or a few months. Any other old, new, Mr. Lawler?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I know this is my last meeting, and I appreciate you making note of that. Thank you very much. But I wanted to thank Jeanette for all of her support for the last 3 years. It's been tremendous, the amount of phone calls that you've answered, and you know my phone number now. It's pretty wild. I'd also like to thank Lynn Barrett for the amount of time that she spent with me and educating me. It was truly an education. The one-on-one time that she spent with me was so valuable. And Adam Blaisdell. Adam Blaisdell spent hours and hours with me and going over, making me understand and taking my comments. A very intelligent person. And last but not least, Steve, I really thank you for your support, especially when we had some hot issues going. There's one thing that I want to make note is that Steve does speak his mind, and that is valuable as a chairperson. He uses the microphone as a stage that he announces and critiques, and I think it's very valuable. And one thing that I know, Steve always had every one of our backs in support, and I really do appreciate that. It's meant an awful lot. And thank you very much for all of all you people for allowing me to be me and carry on the way that I do, and I did. And it's been quite an experience, and I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Again, you will be missed, and I will go on. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Lorenzo, I see your digital hand. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Mr. Lawler and Mr. Green. You guys gave me a good perspective, some experience, and some good advice. I will take that to heart. But my new business is centered around, and I'm not sure if this is appropriate or even feasible, but I've been through the cycle, so to speak, in budgeting for a couple of years now, and I noticed that there's subcommittees, right, for finance, for the different financial areas, and I'd like to just bring it out to the committee if there's a appetite for having a subcommittee for advisory items. That's kind of a permanent thing as part of maybe reorg or something, because there are some times that we need to make advice on some things, and I think if you have that same format that we had with the finances, where we had subcommittees kind of dive into certain areas and then come up with a recommendation, a subset of the larger FinCom, and then come back and make some recommendations to the broader audience, I think that would be very helpful. It wouldn't co-opt the responsibility of the larger FinCom group, but I think it gives us some ability to deep dive on some advisory items that may come about. So that's my only new business. Thank you.
Okay, and I appreciate that. I like the idea. I will just begin by saying that the subcommittees are for each of the budgets for the town. That's why we have the budget subcommittees. And I agree that those subcommittees don't necessarily take on the advisory, the non-financial advisory role throughout the season. But what I would submit to you is that when we have non-financial issues, maybe this group of committee members can do some deep dive together into things that are non-financial to come back with your take on that. You know what I'm saying? So I can't see it adding a subcommittee because it doesn't correspond with the budget, and that's our main goal is to review, digest, and make recommendations on the overall town budget. So I will turn them over to Ms. Richards for your comments. She already did kick me.
So in a follow-up to that, to my colleague, Mr. Bizzarro, I would recommend probably after we reorg, I would recommend reinstating our liaison positions that fell to the wayside, where each of us are appointed a committee or another committee to keep an eye on and attend their meetings or watch their meetings from home and report back any issues that may pertain to the Advisory and Finance Committee. And I think that would probably be a better, instead of having a subcommittee within the committee, I have those advisory, those liaison appointments. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, no, I didn't even know we had those. So I'm kind of flying blind on that, but yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. I think it's through the will of the FinCom, how we structure this going forward, or we don't structure it going forward. We stay the course.
Yeah, I mean, when I joined, that was something that that was already in place, were the liaisons appointments.
Was that, how was that vote? Was that voted or appointed by the chair, or how was that?
Appointed by the chair.
Yep, appointed by the chair.
Okay.
I can circulate that sheet that has all the liaison, all the committees, or all the I guess those are committees that we're liaisons to. Happy to circulate that for people to see. Not to pick on somebody in particular, but Mr. Dunn, you've been with the committee longer than anybody. Do you have any thoughts on that? You were here when we had the liaisons. Any thoughts for us?
I'll say that previously it didn't really do much. We didn't really get many reports. I think if it's something that we stayed on top of, it would be useful, but I think in the past it was kind of existed, but it didn't really come up that much, and we didn't really use the information that was gathered from the liaisons very much.
What if we designate a vice chair to manage that function? Oh, did I just look the other way? Okay, there goes my popularity on this committee. Mr. Lally, what are your thoughts?
By the advisory articles, Mr. Pizarro, do you mean things such as charter amendments or local law amendments or things like the concealed carry?
Well, like the
article that we
wetlands issue.
deal
The
with?
wetlands issue was not a financial issue.
Okay.
Putting up a cell tower, 30 feet from somebody's living room was not a financial issue. That may be some of the things that would go under more advisory than financial.
Okay. Thank you. And I have, go ahead.
Yes, to answer Mr. Lally, my colleague, I was, anything that was non-financial, that doesn't have a budget, that's where my thought process was, to get some more, meat on those bones, so to speak. But, I'm just trying to see if that's, something that, FinCom would be, open to.
One thing we may want to, well, at least a concern I have in addressing it is sometimes these things come in the 11th hour in the press of getting everything approved before it needs to go to town meeting and the agenda's set. So we'll have to be staying a bit ahead of the airplane, so to speak, and watching what's coming through the select board before it, is made known to us officially. I think that'll be one of the challenges.
Okay. Why don't we, Mr. Pizarro, why don't we talk offline in the next couple of weeks and kind of brainstorm this?
Thank you. Sure.
Mr. Lally?
I'm going to change topics if that's okay. I don't know, Ms. Richards, did you have any other comments?
Just are we, Mr. Pizarro, can we move on to another topic, or do you want more discussion?
No more discussion. I just wanted to bring it up in new business.
Okay.
Just get it in front of people.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Lally, let's switch gears.
All right, so this is an update from building committee activity that I'm on. You remember there were two projects came through CFPC. One was the Oak Street project, and another one is the shelter being constructed on Industrial Park Road. And we had an update on, the building committee has done a pretty deep dive into both projects, and is currently, we have a member who goes to the job meetings every week for the Industrial Park project. And a common theme that's emerging is that the design is not complete enough, and both projects were faced with surprise code costs. And as a result, in my opinion, my professional opinion, it's been leading to the cost overruns that both projects are experiencing. The shelter project is due to be complete in December. It still looks like they will not be coming to the town for more money, but I'll leave it at that. But I think, and the challenge, of course, is they're trying to, they think they're saving money by skimping on the design, and in fact, it's costing a lot of money and a lot of surprises. So as we look at any project coming before the town, from our perspective, I think we want to develop some, and I will volunteer to do this, some ratios that we want to apply to the budgets to make sure that the appropriate amount is being spent on design. There's an appropriate amount for contingency, and at least given the type of construction they're anticipating, that there's at least some standard of cost per square foot that we might want to be applying to the budget to avoid at least the kind of surprise we got with Oak Street. Everything's being done with the best of intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I think we have an opportunity to, if and when a project comes forward, to do that. I will also say that the town manager, under the leadership of David Peck, the chair of the building committee, is taking a very strong leadership role in getting the building committee involved early on.
I will accept your offer to be the man to run that small committee.
Might be a committee of one.
The committee of one. I hope there are no disagreements in that committee. All right. Any other new, old, other business before we conclude before 7:40 today? Oh, Ms. Richards.
I know it's a shocker.
It is.
So kind of tagging on to your eloquent comment earlier, with regard to the school committee or the school department, and just a general statement on our ability to audit. So our legal ability to do auditing within the town budgets.
Okay, when you say "our," do you mean the
Our-
town
no,
or our committee?
Our committee.
Okay, I don't believe we have. We already went through this with that building.
But I think that was because I think we couldn't audit that because it was
a private
It was a
entity.
private entity.
Okay.
But within the town and within the town departments, we do have the authority to request an audit.
Okay, isn't that already being done by the
I would
school department?
think, but I think we should also be privy to whether it's being done, whether an audit is being done. And if not, we should request it.
Well, one of the things I learned in the exercise over Oak Street is that this committee, a town department would have to sponsor any expenditure, and at that point, the select board had determined they did not want to do a construction audit. So I will say, though, that they have come to the building committee and asked us to look at Oak Street, which we did. And there is involvement. We're not approving anything, but there is oversight in terms of what's going on, and the people from the building committee, maybe just a party of one, is reviewing change orders, reviewing things, but they're not approving, but they are acknowledging it. But we don't have an operating budget, and we rely, according to Ms. Barrett, on a department to sponsor. So we can't go out and hire anyone.
No, understood,
Okay.
but we can request an audit.
We did, and
No, I'm not saying for Oak Street. I'm saying
no,
for
I'm
the
just saying,
school
and
that
that expenditure needs to be approved by somebody, and in this case, the select board declined. So I think we got to where we needed to be anyway on our own, but I just would say that that's my current understanding.
Right, but I'm talking about the school department's loss, the theft,
Okay.
and their processes of inventorying and, accountability for their, purchasing and expenditures.
So
that's-
I'm not in a position to answer that. I don't
No,
know
I'm,
what the
no,
process
I know,
would be.
I'm
I
not-
think
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
is that I think we should look at that in going forward. Our process, because, I do, I understand it's not up to us to, inventory their product. It's not up to us for their purchasing but it is up to us to look at their budget and make sure that they're spending their money according to their budget. And in that case, it wasn't happening. So I
Well, it
would-
was early on in their investigation, I suggest, and I think we should certainly wait and see what they develop out of this, and perhaps this fall it might be a place to at least go ask questions. It's really early on in the process.
Yeah, and so take away that what happened, then, just looking at it generally, when is it appropriate to do an audit?
Oh, this might be a good, if you want to go to a school committee meeting, that would be a good question to ask there. I just still think it's in their court, in my opinion. I'm interested in having a couple of ideas too, but I'm going to wait and see.
Now, maybe we should be reviewing the auditing procedures, present and future, what they propose to clamp down so that this doesn't happen again. And I suspect that the school superintendent, and I would imagine the finance department and the town manager would be involved in seeing why something like this slipped through the cracks.
Right, well, there's things that, puzzle me too. Is there an audit hotline for the town? Many of the institutions I work for have a 1-800 number where you can report things anonymously, and at least if I believe the Independent,
And I'm just looking at, forget the school, I'm just looking at it, what is our responsibility and what is our authority for audits in general?
That's a different question. I agree. That's a good one to pursue a little bit.
Well, our responsibility and our authority are two very different sets of rules.
Well, either or.
We don't have responsibility for that, but we could have authority to review what processes they're suggesting to fix a problem like this. So it doesn't, it could happen in any department, anywhere. It could be people walking off with sawhorses, for all we know. Not that they are, but...
Or hammer drills. Hammer drills.
Or laptops.
Yeah, laptops, exactly.
So I didn't mean specifically the school, but, that came up, and I'm saying, in general, what is the auditing policy, what is the procedure, what is the responsibility, and what is our role in that?
Well, we should ask the town manager.
Okay.
I will note that. Okay. Anyone else want to bring up some positive news, negative news, any news? Mr. Snyder, welcome back from Florida.
I wanted to mention something that I mentioned at an earlier meeting this year when we had the developer in here for the low-income affordable housing.
Mr. Veo?
The cost to the town were millions of dollars. And I asked one of the developers who was here, what is one of the big costs that you face? And he said, the land. And I said, we own a ton of land here that we've got through taxes, liens, all kinds of property that the town owns that's sitting there getting nothing. And I've discussed this with other people who think it's a good idea. Maybe we could take a couple of those lots, donate them to a developer in exchange for them producing affordable housing without us putting in cash. And I just want to bring that up again because I think it's a good idea. And I don't know, sometimes when it's proposed by other people, it's not welcomed by other folks that are in charge because it wasn't their idea. So I don't know where it's going, but I am going to work on trying to do that because I think it's a good idea, and I think that can save the town a lot of money.
I agree in some respects, but I will say that probably that land that was given up by people is not the most desirable location and the most desirable conditions that you would want to put the housing complex on. That's just my speculation. I don't know for a fact.
But
a lot of these parcels are kind of, for lack of a better word, useless parcels. They're like, they're what? Unbuildable. There you go.
See, what the thing is, I'm not proposing huge apartment buildings. We were told in here by the developer who was making 4 units in one building that that's what he was going to do, and it was, if you remember, millions of dollars. There are properties here that are in proper areas that could be used to put 2 units, even single units that are affordable. And if a developer is willing to put their money behind it in exchange for the land, what do we have to lose? It's worth exploring anyway. It may not be feasible, but it's worth exploring.
Isn't Mr. Farrar the man that identifies these tax lien properties, Patrick Farrar, he would be a guy for you to meet with and run that past him, because he could help you figure this out.
I didn't catch the name.
Patrick Farrar has come before our committee every year with the tax lien transfers that the town has taken over. So he has identified, I believe, over 1,000 properties that are still on the town's rolls. I'm sure that he could have a conversation with you.
I will. Thank you.
That man could actually be the guy who will listen to you.
I would also check in with the redevelopment authority,
Okay.
Good point.
because they have a lot to do with, getting affordable housing in. So I would check in with them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good pursuit. I'd be interested to hear what you come up with at our next meeting or two. Report back. Okay. Anybody else? All right, before we close, I see a member of the public. Would you like to make a comment to close out our meeting?
Do you really want me to make a comment?
Always great to see your smiling face. Boy, I'm
No.
going to miss it when I'm not chair anymore.
I'll be brief. Mr. Chairman, thank you. This is Al Gennaro, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 17. Congratulations to the new members. I just want to remind this committee that you are the financial watchdogs of the town. That is under state law. That is your statutory authority. The town cannot spend a nickel without town meeting. And the school department and others come to us and we approve that budget. That is one line item. They could spend $300 million on ice cream and we have no control over that, unlike the town side where you look at each line item and that has to be approved. So this is a strange situation. Of course, they're going to have their internal audits, but I would think at the very least that this body, and I'm not telling you what to do, but I would suggest that you get some sort of report, what you said, some sort of oversight to this. You know, it's not 1972 anymore. This is the modern day. This sort of stuff shouldn't be happening today with the amount of accounting practices we have today. So, you know, we look to you, and I want to remind folks a few years back that there was an issue down at one of the docks that they needed a support beam or something for X amount under your account, and one of your members went down there and investigated and looked at that detailed stuff. That is the charge of the Finance Committee. You do that detailed work for us and you report back to us. So that's all I have to say. And I would like to thank the Finance Committee members that are leaving, and especially Mr. Lawler. He uncovered turned over a lot of stones, and turning over stones will make people uncomfortable. But that is your job. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And thank you, Mr. Donato. And on that note, I will take a motion from Ms. Butler to adjourn.
I'm making a motion to adjourn.
And Mr. Lawler, in your last official act, I would love it for you to second this motion to adjourn.
I second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Ms. Butler, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
And Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
And Mr. Lally?
Yes?
And Mr. Lawler?
Yes.
And Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Pizarro?
Yes.
Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
You guys stay on your toes because sometimes I go out of order. Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
And Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
And it is a unanimous. We are adjourned at 7:49 PM.